I think Bosnia is a democracy just on paper. There are several families that are ruling this country, ruling and ruining this country. Without them, I think this would be a perfect place to live, because you have enough natural resources, enough water, food for everyone, and they're not letting people to have that.
My name is Mel Hattie. I'm 26 years old. I'm in Bosnia with Photographers Without Borders. I'm here to shoot for Project 1948, which is an NGO that uses a photo voice project to sort of give a voice to Bosnian youth, whatever they're worried about, whatever they're thinking about.
We are the country which currently is dealing with the biggest youth unemployment rate in the world, which is 60%. But these young people, they are carrying incredible energy and wish for a better future. And I know how clever they are, and I know how much they can accomplish with little bit of support. They are aware that in a world we are living with so much globalization going on, that the world is so small, that they do understand that the division which exists is coming from political leaders, and that they, want to keep this condition.
We have 3 presidents, which switch from time to time during their mandate, for 4-year mandate. Each of them represents their own people, Bosniaks, Serbs, Croats. One of the problems is that because of that dividing, people are not looking at each other as people. Even when you are born, your parents start to tell you something like, don't trust the others, don't trust Serbs or Croatians if you are Bosnian, or if you are Serbian, they tell you not to trust Croatians or Bosnian.
Well, I think the biggest thing that photography does is it really helps us empathize and humanize other people. So when you're seeing someone and you're seeing what they're shooting, how they're thinking, how they're framing themselves, what their narrative is, I think that makes you understand them, and the more you understand them, the less threatened you feel by them. I think photography helps destroy fear of the other.
So we start by handing a camera to a student and giving them a photo assignment. After they complete that photo assignment, we then ask them to schedule an interview where they review their photographs and they talk about 3 or 4 that stand out among the 30 or 40 that they have chosen to develop. And from that, they just start talking openly about their photographs and what's important to them, and it's easily then to pull out what needs to happen or what concerns that they have with one image that they are attached to.
Well, my name is Adnan Bajramović and I'm 17 years old. I'm going to the dental school here in Sarajevo and I'm studying to be a dental technician. I was born in the post-war Sarajevo, in 1998. That was just 3 years after the war. I mean, the post-war children here, they're just like, well, weren't we born in another time, Why weren't we born in Yugoslavia? Because they hear the stories from their parents, They hear stories, we had good jobs, we had decent pays. We gone to sea to vacation every year. They hear those good nostalgic stories about a better time, when people cherished the small things in life, when they respected each other. Before the war on the streets, everybody would say hi, hello comrade, and now everybody just passes by you, like you don't even exist. The first photo that I chose was the photo of the Academy of Fine Arts here in Sarajevo, because it really represents the dreams that I once had. You know, I wanted to study industrial design, but when you think about things in a sane and realistic way, you would see that you would die of hunger if you chose this. You know, you can't be an artist and live well here in Bosnia. This picture could potentially explain the reason why the young people are leaving this country. Every year, more and more people emigrate from Bosnia and Herzegovina to more developed countries, you know, like Germany, the Scandinavian countries, France, Ireland, or Turkey, England, I don't know, because they know that their knowledge is going to be accepted in those countries, that they're going to be hired because of their knowledge, not because of their family connections and party connections. You know. They're going to countries that don't have a high level of nepotism, of corruption and stuff like that. You know. You have to give up on your dreams if you want to live here.
My name is Amer Cekić. I'm 20 years old and I'm a student here in Sarajevo, Faculty of Political Science. When I was a kid, I was always asking my parents, why are those buildings abandoned? Why is everything so ruined? And I saw footage of a man that was calling for his son in Srebrenica. He was telling his son that he can go that way, that it's safe for him. But apparently it wasn't safe for neither of them. Their bodies were found in one of these mass graveyards around Srebrenica. So that was like a trigger for me. I was growing up in a sense of fear. I see those bullet holes. What if tomorrow the same thing happens? I don't want the future generations to feel that way. I don't want them to be always in doubt. What if a horror like that happens again?
My name is Belma. I'm 21 years old and I come from Zenica, but I live in Sarajevo. This is the photo I took at the Historical Museum. They were setting up a scene for the International Day of fighting against, I think, transphobia. And I just asked them if I could take the picture and they said sure. And the sign that says here is ljubav jednako ljubav, which means love equals love. The message behind it is that it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or queer or whatever, love is love. And that's something that's really not accepted here. We have a lot of people who are homophobic, who don't allow this kind of behavior in public, and they're actually fighting against it instead of fighting for it. So that's also a big issue here in Bosnia. I mean, I do believe there is future, but we have to work for it hard. It's not just given to us like in some other countries where people have basically everything they want. They just have to be motivated to achieve something. And in here we have to be motivated to achieve something and also to fix all these things that are wrong with our country. So maybe I would like to leave, go somewhere else to get some new experience, but I would definitely always come back here because I feel responsible towards my country and the people in it. I think if I leave, if we all leave, then who is going to stay?
Right now we're in front of Galleria Boris Mohi in downtown Sarajevo, and we've just started Project 1948's Photo Voice exhibition. There's a great turnout, tons of people here, smoking, drinking, laughing, looking at photos, and talking about life in Sarajevo, talking about photography, and talking about community and change.
Good evening and hello. Thank you guys so much for coming out this evening. So this year we had 6 young adult participants. that were given analog cameras, and they only had 36 portraits that they could take. And so of those 36, all of them chose 2 or 3 portraits to put on display. So you can see their work, and then also their individual work over here.
I think one of the greatest reactions I saw at the gallery last night was how people were just in love with the students' photos. So a lot of the students, when they got into this, they kind of thought, yeah, we're not photographers, we'll take these cameras and take some shots, but we're not photographers. But people last night at the gallery absolutely loved what they saw. They were in love with what the students were shooting, what was important to them.
This is the generation that was not involved in the war or was not directly affected by the war. Some, people that can actually introduce some positive aspects to the society and to actually kind of change the way older generations actually think or interact, which is very much impacted by the war and the post-war period. Unfortunately, the situation is such that they will actually have to be, by the nature of the conditions that we have in this country, more active and to fight more for their rights.
I hope the international community sees how people are feeling in Bosnia and empathizes with that. I hope that they see that, Bosnia is not this war-torn speck on the map that was mortar shelled 20 years ago and no one's had a thought about it since. People are living here. People are living here every day with the after effects of that war. But people are trying to make it work and they're trying to be happy and live their lives. They want the same things, right? They want to have meaningful lives. They want to be employed. They just want to be happy. And I really hope that people from the international community will look at what these students have done and just sort of that Bosnia will be in their minds.
What I think needs to happen in order for us to change attitudes is to start working from the roots, because many people think that we have much bigger problems, and basically everything you mention is not serious enough compared to some other problems. So I think our country needs to change in general. We need to stand back on our feet and then we can start working on all of the issues that we have.